Let's bring in Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, who was scheduled previous to this hearing, but is joining us now to talk more about this. I'd love to hit you on, because you're my governor, when you're going to get rid of this horrible car tax thing, but that would be motivated self-interest. So instead, let me start, Governor, by asking you, you've been watching this hearing. Do you believe that an impeachment inquiry at this point is legitimate?
Well, it's the congressional job of oversight and investigation, and they should continue to investigate. And they got to follow the facts. And my strong advice is follow the money, because the money will tell you where the end treasure pot is. And this is at the front end of, I think, a fact-finding mission that the Congress should be doing. And they need to be doing this job, and they should just continue to follow those facts.
Governor, it's Sandra here in New York. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Sandra, great to be with you.
Could I just get you to weigh in broadly on what we've been watching there play out with this committee and this impeachment inquiry?
Well, broadly speaking, and I'll just repeat a little bit of what I just commented on, which is the congressional role of oversight is so important. And I think that what we've seen here out of this important committee work has been an uncovering of facts. And they need to continue to do that. Follow the money. Money will always lead you to the end result. And in this case, it is all about money. And I do believe that there will continue to be more revelations about what has transpired between particularly Hunter Biden and foreign folks. And you can't hide it. Bank accounts and check receipts and wire transfer receipts. And this is what they should continue to do.
I want to talk to you, Governor, about some of the issues going on there in Virginia, which factored into the debate last night. And one of those is the requirement for parental notification. If a child tells his or her school that they want to change their gender identity, that came up last night at the debate. Let's listen to what the candidates said.
Would you try to pass a federal law that says parents should have that right?
We are going to require states absolutely have to follow that through.
I think this is a state's issue. You had to have a permission slip from your parents to get a Tylenol, but you could get a gender transition plan without notifying your parents. I weighed in with a foundation. That's not bad policy. That's crazy.
So you implemented these model policies which would require school boards or schools, individual schools, to notify parents if a child comes in and says, I want to change my gender. Fairfax County Public Schools, Loudoun County Public Schools, Arlington County Public Schools, Virginia Beach schools all said, Governor, we're not going to follow this policy. We're going to do what we want to do. My understanding is that at state level, you have very little recourse to force them to do anything. However, in Virginia Beach, a group of parents has launched a lawsuit, and I'm wondering, will the state join that lawsuit?
Well, let me first begin, John, with the fact that these counties really don't have a choice. Our law is really clear that, in fact, I issue the model policies, and they have to adopt policies that are either our model policies or consistent with them. And our Attorney General, Jason Miyares, came out with a very clear opinion. It is the law. They must follow it. And so it's not surprising that there has been a lawsuit filed. I am very proud of the parents standing up for their children's rights and their rights as parents. There's not a choice to be made by these counties. And in fact, now they're all being clearly brought out in legal jeopardy and liability. They're liable personally and as boards. And this will play itself out in the court system. But again, there's no decision to be made here. Our law is crystal clear. The counties have to adopt policies that are either consistent with the model policy that I have presented, or are there model policies. And let's just be clear. There's no reason why parents shouldn't be told. In fact, they must be told. These are children that belong to families, not to the state, not to the schools, not to bureaucrats, and certainly not to the teachers' unions. They belong to parents, and parents must be notified. And not only that, decisions should not be made for that child without parents being deeply engaged and, of course, approving of those decisions. And I thought the comment last night was spot on. You can't get a Tylenol or an aspirin in a school without parental permission. How in the world could you begin to talk about a child, about questioning their own gender, without parents being deeply engaged. This is a common sense moment. There is really not a lot of controversy here. Parents in Virginia have a right to make these decisions, and I will continue to protect them.
That is certainly an issue that you have championed. And speaking of last night, there was an issue that was front and center, and that is the economy. While the current president seems to be denying the economic reality for so many Americans, obviously you've been able to do a lot there in your state. But when you look at what is happening, what is playing out across the country, and the areas in which this president is focusing, what sort of political implications do you believe there is to that for Democrats who are really pressing on issues that are not top for most American voters right now? What's the political impact of that?
Well, as you know, we're in the middle of what I believe are the most important elections in the nation in 2023, our legislative midterms. Our entire House is up, our entire Senate is up, and I'm campaigning all over the Commonwealth. And the single most frequent topic that I hear about from voters are concerns about the economy, their jobs, and inflation. I mean, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And we see that today the typical family has to spend $700 more every month just to cover the basics, gas and groceries and clothes for their kids. This is real, and it's a gut punch in every Virginian's stomach every time they go to the grocery store and see how much they're having to pay for those bare essentials. This is real, and I think this is one of the strongest areas for Republicans because we've done a good job managing the economy in Virginia and in red states. And in fact, all of the economic growth in the nation is happening in red states. In Virginia, we've seen 225,000 people working today that weren't working when I started in January in 2022. We have the largest workforce in Virginia's history today. And we just ran a huge surplus after a $4 billion tax relief package the year before. And so conservative common sense economic policies work, and yet they're not working for our nation because President Biden doesn't believe in them. His own Democrat economists have told him that if you have reckless spending, you're going to unleash inflation. That's exactly what happened when you, in fact, completely evacuate our great energy policy that we have had with energy independence, and we become dependent on the world. We see that he's only doing one thing, and that's driving us into the Chinese strength. And we've heard a lot of talk about this, but let's just repeat it, that when we have a laser maniacal focus on electric vehicles and a green agenda, what it does is it takes away America's energy independence and drives us into the Chinese trap. They have dominated the EV supply chain, and the more we do to drive America and Virginia into this electric vehicle mandate, the worse we're going to be off. This is a chance for us to step back and see clearly that common sense conservative economic policy wins, and the progressive left hope of trying to mandate various winners and losers and being so engaged in the national economy loses. And it's been red states with Republican governors that have demonstrated this so clearly. Virginia has been a real case study because, of course, it was controlled by the Democrats up until 2 years ago, and Virginia was really languishing. When I came in, it was bottom third of job growth. And in 21 short months, we've moved up during that time period to third in the nation in job growth. This is the kind of result when you focus on the common sense stuff that keeps businesses moving, keeps people employed, gets people off the sidelines as opposed to paying them not to work. And we can lift up all Virginians in this case. These are the topics that are going to be at the ballot box this fall. That's why I'm very excited about taking our entire House and our entire Senate to the voters, because I think we've delivered real results. Promises made when we were campaigning, promises kept during our administration, and I think that's what voters want. They want a government that works for them.
So, Governor, a lot to unpack there, including, I was just about to bring it up, the off-year elections that are coming up in the Commonwealth in November. You have promised that if you win the Senate, in addition to the House, that you will rescind the electric vehicle mandate in the state of Virginia that was implemented in 2021. In terms of job growth, your stewardship, looking over the state, there are a lot of people who are looking for an alternative to President Trump, who are looking at the current Republican field, not seeing what they want. And the draft Youngkin movement is really gaining steam. Coming up in October, there is a red vest retreat that wants to seek to draft you to be the dark horse candidate who comes in at the last moment to try to take over. You've got to move fast. Nevada has a deadline of October the 16th to register for their primary. Are you thinking of doing this?
Well, John, I've been very focused, and I continue to be focused on our Virginia elections.
I understand that.
And that's where I'm going to be. Our elections are November 7th. And the Red Vest Retreat, this is our second one. And I'm excited about people coming to Virginia and supporting what we're doing. You know, of course, what's happened over the course of the last month is the liberal left in Virginia has woken up, and they recognize that a state that they controlled just 24 months ago is going to move completely away from them.
Would you rule this out?
Would I rule out
jumping into the race?
Yeah, I've told you, I'm totally focused on Virginia elections, and that's what we're going to get done. That's what we're going to get done. You know, what happened recently was Joe Biden came to Virginia 2 weeks ago, and he said that one of his top priorities were the legislative elections in Virginia. He put $1.5 million in against our candidates. We got to battle against this, and I'm hoping that our retreat in October will provide good resources for us to combat the flood of resources coming into Virginia to try to hold a state which the liberal left knows they're losing. See, this is a chance for us, John, to demonstrate that when we have a state that is lost, it doesn't mean that we can't recover it. And in 24 months, we will take a state. Remember, we had clean Democrat leadership across the General Assembly in our House and our Senate, in the governor's office, lieutenant governors, General Assembly, both our senators up here, Democrats. And all of a sudden, Virginia woke up in 2021 and said, no, we are not going to allow the bureaucrats to raise our kids. We're not going to demean police. We're not going to raise taxes. We're going to cut them. And we're going to stand up for the liberties we enjoy. So, the whole state has flipped. It's working. And this is a case study for what can be done in other states around the United States. Well, this is
sounding more and more like a presidential campaign pitch. Okay, so let me rephrase the question a little bit as I dig through this drafting Glenn Youngkin for 2024 no longer being a fantasy. And to put this out there and get your reaction, the thirsting for Youngkin is not a well-orchestrated power play. It is the latest slapdash scheme in a long search for a standard bearer and a portrait of the powerlessness so many Republicans feel as Trump plows ahead, shrugging off criminal indictments and outrage over rhetoric they fear is growing dark and dangerous. So if I put the question to you a different way, do you feel a responsibility for your party and for your country to jump in this race?
Well, let me begin with how humbling this is. 40 years ago, I'm washing dishes and taking out trash in the Belvedere Hotel. And today, people are throwing my name around in a national context. I'm new at this. I have had one campaign under my belt, and I've been governor for 21 months. I think we have really moved things in Virginia. It's encouraging that people are watching and like what we're doing.
Well, what would hold you back? What's holding you back?
I'm focused. We have got to hold our House and flip our Senate. I believe that this is a very important moment, not just for Virginia to show we can do this, but to prove to the nation that you can turn this around in a very short period of time. And I'm excited about what we're demonstrating. Common sense conservative policies oftentimes are debated in philosophy. And we're demonstrating with real results that a state that was languishing with moribund economic growth and was shut down during the pandemic, and schools that were 44th in the nation to put kids back in the classroom with extended now learning loss that's persistent and deep. We can address all of this, and we can do it with common sense, and it works. And at the same time, that is the key message for us.
And at the same time, you can quietly register for the Nevada caucuses and still have a focus on the November election.
And at the same time, John, all Virginia voters need to register to vote. So as a Virginian, I just ask you, go to secureyourvotevirginia.com, make a plan, vote early, and let's win these races.
I get my ballot mailed to me every cycle.
Awesome. Thank you.
And with the off-year elections, I get plenty of ballots, too. Let me ask you about Scott Smith, who sat in that seat a couple of weeks ago. He was the father in Loudoun County who was arrested at a school board meeting and held up by the National School Boards Association as the poster child for violent behavior and the threat facing America. He was sort of referenced in this letter that they sent to Merrick Garland as they wrote, As these acts of malice, violence, and threats against public school officials have increased, the classification of these heinous actions could be the equivalent to a form of domestic terrorism and hate crimes. Again, Scott was here, and he said, look, this whole thing got misreported. He wasn't saying anything to the school board. He was having an argument with another person in the audience. Here's what he told us.
Yeah.
I was sitting in my little area, and a radical protester came, and I heard this shouting behind me. Tried to explain to this lady what was going on. She looked at me dead in the face and said, "That's not true. That's not what happened. You're lying." I called her an expletive. The next thing I know, there's hands all over me, grabbing me from behind. You're not allowed to do that.
So you weren't even addressing the superintendent at the time, Scott Ziegler.
Never.
Yeah, so I mean, he was no threat to the school board, and yet the National School Board Association holds him up as a potential domestic terrorist. You pardoned him. Why did you see that that was an important thing to do?
He should have never been prosecuted. I mean, here's a dad whose daughter had been sexually assaulted in the bathroom of a Loudoun County public school, and the school system was covering it up. And worse yet, they took the assailant and moved him to another school where he sexually assaulted someone else, and they tried to cover the whole thing up. And it took an election where I was hired as the new governor, and I directed our Attorney General Jason Miyares to go investigate this. And when the final judgment came down, or the final report came down from the grand jury, the superintendent was guilty of, or at least charged with, charged with trying to cover this whole thing up, and he was fired and indicted. This man should have never, ever been prosecuted. It was my real honor, but also I think my duty to give him a full pardon and to recognize that his family has been through so much. And I hope that this is a pathway to healing for them. He's got an amazing daughter, and these are deeply engaged parents. And this was part of the ground zero of Loudoun County that really became the Parents Matter movement that swept across Virginia, and I believe has swept across the country, rightly so. Going back to where we started. Parents must have a say, not just a seat at the table, but the head seat at the table in their children's lives. We've got to stop allowing bureaucrats and politicians and the teachers' unions to try to raise our kids for us. I haven't met a single parent who says, I want to co-parent with the government. They want to raise their children, and we've got to make sure that we protect their rights to do so.
Such a great point, and something you continue to pursue in a way that many others have not been able to, Governor. On that note, parents hear you saying that and they think, well, you're spearheading that effort at a time where we're trying to make up for lost learning during the pandemic and get kids back to reading and writing in our schools. I mean, you've got kids who are graduating, they're getting pushed through the school systems, and they're not even reading at anywhere near grade level in some cases. I mean, how do we get things back on track in our education system in this country?
Yeah, it's a travesty, and it is completely a result of terrible decisions in Virginia by the previous governor and school boards to keep schools closed. I said earlier we were 44th in the nation in getting kids back into schools, and now we see that Virginia on the NAEP scores last year was first in the nation in learning loss in fourth grade reading and math. We had the largest learning loss in the nation. It's just clear. We've put through a budget, and we now have a program that we are rolling out aggressively across the Commonwealth for intensive tutoring, 3 to 5 hours a week of incremental tutoring for 3rd through 8th graders in math and reading. It's being funded by the state, and it will not cost parents or families a penny. It's critical. It's going to run for 18 weeks to 36 weeks in our schools where students are at risk of failing, and the numbers are staggering. Nearly 2/3 of Virginia's 3rd through 8th graders are at risk or are failing math standardized tests. And 50% are failing or at risk of failing reading standardized tests. This is a lost generation unless we get moving. This is an intensive, all hands on deck effort, all in Virginia. And we're going to get this done because these children deserve it. This is clear. They did not get the building blocks they needed, telling children that watching a 12-inch screen TV as a quality education was a lie. And it's not to knock teachers, because I will tell you the teachers across the Commonwealth were working so hard in these impossible circumstances. This was very, very bad decision-making from people in charge, and now we've got to go back, and we owe it to our kids to fix it for them. We've got to let them catch up, because we need to build our future on them.
Yeah.
And the future of the Commonwealth and the future of our country will be built on these 3rd through 8th graders that must be able to read and must be able to do math.
A lot of lingering problems in the state, but better than Baltimore, where all those students failed math in the high schools. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just horrific.
Governor, great to sit down and talk with you. We look forward to see what the election brings a little more than a month from now. We appreciate you spending time.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.